Hi, and welcome to session 3. We're going to give you some very practical tips now as to how turtles and hailstorms can work on communicating a little bit better, and to look and see what God's Word has to say in regard to how we as husbands and wives should work together in this area. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First point is, do unto others as you would have done unto you, Luke 6:31. You know, I know that Karen is a hailstorm. She knows that I'm a turtle, and there's things about the way we communicate with each other that drive each other nuts. But one of the ways that I can show her that I love her and to try to please her is to respond and to share some of my feelings and come out of my shell and emote. But she also needs to learn, as Counselor shared with both of us as turtles and hailstorms, that she needs to turn the hailstones down a little bit so that they don't sting and they don't hurt. So we really need to work together at finding the middle ground of becoming what we need to be so that we can communicate effectively, doing unto others as we would have it done unto us.
Absolutely.
Number 2, let's learn how to speak one another's love languages. You know, guys, wives want our empathy. They want understanding. They want to know that we know how they're feeling. And wives, your husbands want respect and, to be appreciated. So, Karen, again, is a hailstorm and I'm a turtle. And as a hailstorm, Karen, you can help me, the turtle, develop an emotional vocabulary. I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about feelings, and Karen was expecting things from me that I had no idea how to communicate. So I can remember her trying to ask me and interrogate me what I was feeling and then helping me define words. Are you angry or are you frustrated? I didn't know what the difference between angry and frustrated was, and finally we worked those through, and now I know what angry means and now I know what frustrated means. And Karen's a hailstorm, and I got to help her settle down. Sometimes she emotes, the storm's going full bore. I got to say, whoa, honey, you're blowing me away. Sit down, let's have a cup of coffee, settle down, calm down, and tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Or the other alternative is to say, hey, just go ahead and vent, and I'll be back in 20 minutes, and we can try to unpack this thing again when the worst of the storm has blown over or I'm in the eye of the storm.
Number 3 is having the right tone of voice, and that speaks mostly to hailstorms like me. I get excited, and so my voice gets elevated and strong and impressive, and I can be oppressive to my poor husband. So I need to be careful with my tone, make sure that it's kind and gentle and soothing. And if I can't do that, I need to walk away and say that we'll come back in 15 minutes or at a time when I can do that.
Turtles hear intensity and passion as anger and attacking. So the tone of voice and intensity of voice can really obliterate the message for us as turtles. And I know that as a turtle, sometimes my silence and my reflectiveness and my thinking gets misinterpreted as not caring or not understanding or not wanting to respond. And that's not true either. So we need to understand how we respond, and the tones of voice and the behaviors makes a world of difference in how effectively we communicate to one another. Number 4, stay committed and engaged. It's taken years for us to develop all these bad communication habits, and it's going to take a lot of work and energy and effort for us to overcome them. There are going to be times when hailstorm hails and turtles, and we're going to drive each other nuts, and we're going to try to revenge and retaliate and punish one another for not meeting one another's needs. Our natural defense mechanisms are going to creep up there and become negative things in our marriage and not positive things. So we need to stay committed to working through and overcoming some of those defense mechanisms that we build up.
And if we retaliate and don't address the issue and we continue on that path, then we just draw farther and farther apart. Number 5 is sharing our expectations. My expectations for Bruce in the area of communication especially is that when I share something with him, when I talk to him about something, he responds to me. He lets me know he's listening and that he cares.
Isn't it a response?
No, it isn't a response, but engage, so that we engage together.
So you'd like me to give you some feedback in terms of, this is what I think you're feeling.
Right.
Or this is what you thought.
Exactly.
Okay, so expectation. And I might expect of you when we're communicating for you to be calm, cool, and collect, and and not to, just bowl me over with an emotional diatribe.
You have every right to expect that, and that is good, and that's what I need to live up to.
Number 6 is we want to schedule time every day to connect. Christian marriages are to reflect the relationship that we have with God and God has with us. And 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17 tells us that we're to pray without ceasing. We're to be in constant communication with God. So that would kind of imply that every day we should have some sort of meaningful conversation together, communication together as husband and wife. And that won't happen unless we intentionally make that happen. It's easy for me to come home and give Karen the 6 o'clock news, what happened at work, what happened at school, and fall into that old routine. But I need to get in and let her open up her heart, and she needs to know what's going on in my heart. So what we need to do is to, turn off the TV, turn off the computer, put down the novel, put down the newspaper, the things that get in the way, and maybe just sit down. If we have kids, maybe it's after they go to bed or they're doing some homework, but just find a time when we can connect and not only share the news of the day, but what's going on in our hearts as well, and what we're thinking, what we're feeling.
Mm-hmm. It's important in my relationship with the Lord that I connect with Him every day. And although that's the ideal and I want to do that, that's what I purpose in my heart, it doesn't happen every day. But I can feel when I don't connect. And if I let that go on day after day after day, my relationship gets strained with the Lord in the sense I don't feel as connected. Same thing happens in my relationship with Bruce. If I don't connect with him every day, the relationship begins to get strained. So I need to purpose in my heart to connect every day. And if I don't let it go on for a while, but to make that reconnection as quickly as possible. Number 7 is affirm, affirm, affirm.
You said affirm.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. And that means that Bruce needs to affirm me when I'm effectively communicating, and I need to affirm Bruce when he's effectively communicating, or we'll never know if we're missing the mark or if we're hitting the mark of building a relationship. Mm-hmm.
Positive reinforcement is a great way to build new habits. And as I know what Karen wants me to do and I get affirmed, I'm going to keep doing that because I want to be stroked and positively reinforced, and it's going to help make the changes I need to make to be the spouse that she wants me and needs me to be. There's a couple of verses I want us to think about as we wrap up the session here. And the first one is out of 1 Peter 3, 8 and 9, where Peter says, "Finally live in harmony with one another. Be sympathetic, love as brothers, be compassionate and humble. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult, but with blessing, because to this you were called, that you may inherit a blessing." The whole idea is turtles and hailstorms need to learn how to live together in harmony, need to learn how to love one another so that we can be a blessing to one another. God made Karen a hailstorm. He made me a turtle, and He uses Karen in my life, and hopefully He uses me in her life to continue to make us into the husband and wife that He desires us to be, which brings me to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, where Paul says what we were talking about today. We need to speak the truth in love. Sometimes we need to share our expectations and how well or how poorly we're doing in communication, because in speaking the truth in love, Paul says we will grow to become in every respect like Jesus Christ. And that's the goal, for us to grow to become more like Him. Because our marriage here as Christians is to reflect the love, character, and nature of God, and to show the world what the love of God looks like through the person of Jesus Christ. We're done with the video section of the date, but the final part of the date is just about ready to start here. And the most important part is going to take place off camera. It's going to be where you and your spouse are going to spend some time talking about the things that you've seen and heard and learned during these 3 video presentations. Take out your hand out and go to the knee to knee, nose to nose section. And we encourage you really to sit like this, knee to knee, nose to nose. And I always like to hold on to Hailstorm's hands just to make sure thunder and lightning don't minister to me in an extra fashion. And just walk through the questions on that handout to get you started, and let the conversation go where it needs to go, where you feel the Spirit of God is leading you as a couple to talk about some things and unpack and set some new expectations and goals for your marriage. And we encourage you to take the time to do this. It might not happen, and let the conversations go on throughout the week until we meet again for our next date.